So our first storyteller now is going to be Thomas Skala, and he's going to be telling a story entitled Planting Kindness. So let's give Thomas a big round of
My sister grew up in a neighborhood. Well, she was living there in a neighborhood, and every spring, little flowers would grow, just start showing up in people's front yards. And the apocryphal story is that in her twilight years, an older woman had gone around just kind of throwing seeds around before she shuffled off this mortal coil. And some of them still found purchase in later years. And I just like the idea that a tiny little bit of kindness can still have a resounding difference. When I was 24, so about 10 years ago, I got a job out in California, Southern California, about 50 miles east of LA, and I was living in Cleveland at the time. I was going to be putting together a physics curriculum for high school students. And I didn't have a lot of experience doing this, but I had TA'd at college for about 5 semesters, and I tutored high school students for some time. So I'm I went out, they flew me out, I did presentations, they're like, okay, yeah, you're hired. And I was like, all right, so I'm a 20-something, I'm confident. I'm like, hey, how hard could it be? Other people do it. That was a rhetorical question for me. I should have really asked myself the question because the answer is really damn hard. So I get out there, I know one other person in the entire state. They're a 2-hour drive away. I'm house sitting for my friend's brother while he's out of town, so I have 3 weeks there, but he hasn't set up the air conditioning and it's about 105 as the high every day. So I keep finding black widows in the house. I have to come home from work. I put frozen peas on my head and sit in front of a fan in my boxers. My first day of work, which is right after the 4th of July holiday, I go in. Turns out my supervisor just left on a 2-week vacation. Okay, so they hand me a script for a biology curriculum, which is kind of useful. It's sort of like I'm trying to build a car and they gave me a motorcycle repair manual. And I was like, okay, fine. So they show me my cubicle, swank, and I was like, okay. So they're getting me set up with my email. They plug the phone into the system, and I guess it hasn't been set up perfectly. So all the incoming calls are going to my line. I don't know anyone there. I'm a 20-something. Everyone else is in their late 30s or beyond. I'm totally confused. I don't know how to transfer calls. I don't know who anyone is. And it's a very stressful first day. So I stay there late. Everyone's out by 4:30 or 5. I'm there until almost 6 where the cleaning crew comes out. And there's one of the workers comes up and introduces himself. Big guy, his name's Dave. And he had said, he's just he was welcoming me into the area, wondering if he could give me any tips or anything. And every day at the end of work, because I would still be working there really late, because I'm I got to do this, he would come by and we would talk for a little bit. And it was just this tiny little kind act that he would give me at the end of the day. But that really mattered a lot. It was this little touchstone that I would have, this one good moment before I went out into this confusing world that I knew nothing about, and I had to tell myself those stories that we always tell ourselves in order just to get through the day, So just little kind acts can really make a difference. So.